Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of And Now You Know with Betty and Julz. I'm Betty.
And I'm Julz.
And today we're going to be talking about, actually, the title of it is Less Talk, More Action. But this is really all about your actions speaking louder than your words. So let's jump into that topic.
Okay, before we get started, though, I like to remind people that we're not doctors or psychiatrists, psychologists. We're none of that. We're just two
cool girls.
Betty hates it when I say I'm old.
I hate when she says that, but whatever.
But we just have gone through the ringer of life, the University of Hard Knocks, and that's where we got our PhDs. And we just like to share our experiences with each other. That's how it all started.
Sorry, I'm in the. I feel like
with y'all.
I feel like I need to bust out laughing.
Why?
I don't know.
Because things are just funny.
Things are just funny. Well, I mean, we just had a conversation with a friend of ours, and part of me. We're not going to talk about it right now because it's definitely not on topic today. But maybe some other episode we will bring that whole conversation up that just happened. Maybe not.
Yeah. So.
Okay, back to the topic.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words. Less talk, more action.
Yep. There's a song that Elvis Presley sang. Have you ever heard it?
Nope.
Little less talk, a lot more action. It's pretty good. It's pretty snappy little song back from the 50s. But he was talking about action somewhere else. But what we're talking about is that if you say you love me, you better be giving me more than just lip service is what I'm talking about. And I'm very committed to that need because I have been told that I am loved, but the actions don't back that up.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about this in a couple different I guess, context. First, definitely in relationship. We're going to talk about that. And, Julz is talking about it from all the various relationships, the experiences that she has had. I'm going to talk about it from the standpoint of the dating experience and how it's funny because I follow a lot of different dating coaches and therapists and counselors on social media. And it's funny that it's all the same. They all say the same thing about paying attention to what the person is showing you. In my case, guys, right? What the guys are showing you. Pay attention to what they're showing you versus what they're saying to you. Because I think we, as women, as girls, single girls in particular, really all, but let's just talk about...
Well, it happened in my marriage.
It happened, right. So. It happens to everybody. But I'm going to say specifically in the dating world, single girls, we sometimes want to see something that isn't really there. Actually, I think that's true for you too. So it's really all, right? You want to see something happen, and in your mind, you rationalize. In your mind, you fill in the blanks of something that you're really not seeing.
Well, you're choosing not to.
Right. You're choosing not to.
Yeah.
And even if you are hearing, I'll do that when, or I'll get to it, or I love you so much, or that's important to me too, or yes, I'll call you at this time, or yes, we're going to meet for whatever. Whatever the situation is, they all end up being somewhat empty promises, right? And there are things that didn't happen. Now, here's where we throw in mulligans and where we throw in some grace when it's not deserved.
That's exactly right. And I mean, we had some challenges with trying to decide how to title this episode because, we had tied in Love is Blind, and we had two different definitions of love is blind. And mine came from me sweeping things under the rug and making excuses for behavior that really was unacceptable. And if I'd paid attention to it early on, before marriage and babies and mortgages and all that stuff happened, I wouldn't have gotten myself into some of the messes that I got myself into. I wouldn't have drugged my kids through these messes. I wouldn't have left this wake of destruction behind, which, by the way, you deal with whether you're out of it and things are good now, but there's still the repercussions and the consequences of those flags that you choose to ignore, and actions clearly speak louder than words.
They absolutely do. And actually, the perspective that you have, I guess the good and the bad. The good is for somebody to step out to actually understand that love is not enough. That's kind of the way that I take it when you say love is blind, because you get so blinded and consumed by this love that you feel like is like all that you have to live for. And that,
well, and
you
you
know,
think that it's the only thing that you need. You
Right,
don't need,
right.
I mean, just your feelings alone are going to be enough. But
to sustain you in life and to move you forward through it all. And it's not true.
The problem with that is that your love, you probably are doing the actions and all the things, and you're not having any help. I still struggle to this day with believing that in order for something to get done, that I need to do it all myself.
Yeah.
I get really overwhelmed with Thanksgiving. I'm just going to use Thanksgiving as an example, because I do all the cooking. It's my love language is cooking, and I love feeding people and making delicious things, and I like hearing them brag about how good it is on Thanksgiving. And I used to do it all by myself. Well, now Jay steps into the picture, which, by the way, we're getting ready to celebrate our 9th anniversary.
9th wedding anniversary, but 13 years together.
Yeah, and I'm so excited because I still really like him a lot, and he likes me a
Which
lot.
I think is so sweet.
We were on our walk this morning, and we were talking about how we both still really enjoy each other's company. But back to Thanksgiving.
You don't have to do it all alone.
And it's so easy to prepare.
I think, well, and she's talking about Thanksgiving right now, but I think, you know, we're so similar in so many other things. And we were having a conversation, and we are going to have a whole other episode where we literally dive into hyper independence and the overdoing of everything. And it's funny. I mean, I still do that. I still, in my mind, you know, you have Jay, and in my case, even though I'm not married and I don't have a partner, but I have a lot of people in my life that are absolutely there to support me and want to help me. Yeah. And it's so funny that I forget that. I forget to ask for help. I forget to, in my head, it is always only me.
Right.
And so that's where you have to, anyway, that's another episode. We kind of just
I can't wait to talk about that one, because I have suffered with that hyper independence.
Oh yeah. We'll get into all that and all the statistics, and there's a lot of, you know, research that has gone into it. So we'll talk about all of that.
And it's exhausting.
It is.
And this whole
exhausting.
thing that we're even talking about today is exhausting, because if you are choosing to not pay attention to how someone is acting, or the deeds that they are doing
or not doing,
if they're not doing them and you're carrying the weight of it, it's exhausting.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we came up with this whole title of less talk, more action. But here's what the problem is: when you have a partner that's all talk and no action, you're the one required to do all the additional actions. You're the one carrying it all, not only the emotional burden, but the actual physical burden. A lot of times, you know, this is why this phenomenon, and I'm sure everybody has heard of this, of the single married moms, right? Or the married single moms. That's really what it's called. So you have these women. I just saw a clip on social media of this mom. It is absolutely horrendous. You just want to punch the guys in the face when you see this. But there's this mom. She has a baby. She's dealing with a toddler, and she's trying to carry groceries also. And he is walking next to her, looking down on his phone.
There is also another...
It is so ridiculous.
There is a guy that dresses up like a mime. He's totally silent, and have you seen that?
I saw
He's
that
setting out there.
It's a zoo. They're like at a zoo or something.
Yeah. I think he just goes to different places. I think we ought to do some on-location things and do that. But they'll show a mom carrying a diaper bag with a baby and a whatever those things are. Bjorn, what are those? Whatever.
The baby Bjorn
Yeah,
thing.
those things. And then pushing a stroller.
Yep.
And the guy's sitting there drinking a Coke. And the mime goes up to the dad and taps him on the shoulder, and he goes up to the mom.
And he takes the bag off her shoulder, and throws it on him.
And then he takes the guy's hands, puts them on
the stroller.
And then he points to the baby, and then he points to the dad, and he points to the baby, and he goes, "Put it on you."
Yeah.
And at the end, and he does this with several people walking by, the mom is always carrying the load. It's crazy.
That is, and you know what? That has to change. That has to change. So I'm going to throw out a couple things that I feel like are infuriating to me. And it starts with, not only do you actually want a man to stick to his word, you want him to participate in the life and the family that you've created and all of that. I think the part that really bothers me is when a man believes that his only job is to like go to work and provide some money, and then the rest of it falls on her. That is not the way it's supposed to be. There's all sorts of, not only does the wife need some emotional support and your hand also, like
and rest,
you involved in everything, but so do the kids.
Right.
How do the kids feel? And believe me, it's not a pleasant feeling. How do the kids feel when the father is present but not present? You're there, but you're not really there because you're so consumed with everything else.
That gets into the whole, you need to make sure that he's going to be available.
Right.
And that fits into the lane of physical. I mean, when we think of physical, I think we think of tall, hair, what color of eyes you want, short, fat, whatever is attractive to you. You're going to put that in your list as what is a criteria and who you're looking for.
Well, fat isn't on there.
Fat. Some people have a song they sing, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Oh, yeah. That's not bad, though. That's not bad.
No. But, whatever your list is. But physical, I think, sometimes gets misrepresented. And physical is he going to be there for you physically?
Right.
And that means, is he going to carry the baby? Is he going to do the dishes? Is he going to be your sous chef at Thanksgiving?
Right.
Is he going to go fill your car up with gas when you've got a busy morning coming up the next day? When Jay and I first started dating, and a few months in, the love word started rolling off my tongue, and he didn't say it back, which is awkward. I recommend that you let him say it first.
This reminds me of an episode of Friends when Ross tells, I don't know did you ever watch Friends?
Oh yes, I watch it still.
Okay.
I
still watch Friends
over and over and over.
There's an episode, I'm just going to give Friends a shout out. And we have a friend who loves Friends. I wish that she was here right now because she would totally quote like this line from the show. So Ross is with Emily, who is the wife that he married, who's from London, right? So
he said, "I take thee, Rachel."
No, yeah, oh yeah, he did say that. That's not the part I was going to say, but he did say that on the episode where they get married. But before that, when he tells her that he loves her, she looks at him and she says, "Thank you." Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Jay didn't say that. He said, "I'm not going to tell you yet."
Okay, but that's a better response.
There was a response.
That's a better response.
I want to make sure, which was, that kind of hurt a little bit. I was like, what do you mean you want to make sure? But now, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant now. He said, but when I start saying it to you, you won't even need me to say it to you because you'll already know it through my actions. But when I know it to be a fact, you'll know it. And I'll say it often, and I won't even need to.
I have to say, I understand your perspective, how you receive that, but I actually feel like that's really great. That's a really great response. And the reason why I like that is because he did not allow himself to be peer pressured into saying it back to you when he wasn't ready to say it. I actually think that's so admirable.
It is.
Of a man.
And it was exactly what I needed. Jay knew how to... I love really hard and strong and boldly, and I think it was a little bit scary for him at first, but he let me love him the way that I loved him, and I gave him time. And he also loves very big also, but he just was not in the making mistake business at that point, and I wasn't either, quite frankly. But the minute we had our first date, I knew that I wanted to spend more time with him.
Yeah.
And see if I wanted to keep spending time with him. And here we are almost on our 9th anniversary, and we still really like each other.
Yeah. So I think this is important because this is what I have learned kind of over the journey. And it's not just in dating. I've learned this over the course of, my life, over, 4.5 decades. And I feel like I have learned the hard way, unfortunately, that I had to become an observer, and I had to learn to make decisions based on what I was seeing and not what I was hearing, because I was getting disappointment after disappointment after disappointment in a lot of different areas where from different people where I was allowing people to either say something and not follow through, and I would still allowing them to hang out, you know what I mean, to still be around.
We just make excuses for their behavior because maybe they do say I love you.
Right.
But then they don't have anything to support those words.
Right. So either you're saying it and not doing it, which, by the way, has now become, Julz knows this, has become the biggest pet peeve of mine and absolutely a red flag. I do not give mulligans on them at all. If you ever say to me that you're going to say something and you don't do it, I'm not going to fight about it. No. I'm not going to chase after you. And like, I'm not going to do anything at all. You will likely never see me again or speak to me again. Because for me, I am a person of my word, of your word, of honor, of
integrity,
trust, of
character,
integrity.
And integrity.
Right. And for me, I'd rather you say, no, I'm not going to, or no, I'm not able to.
Right.
I would rather you say that than to say you're going to do something and not do it.
Think about it before you say yes.
Absolutely.
It's okay to say no.
Right. So not only is that one part of it where it's you say you're going to do something and then either you have no intention of doing it or you don't do it and then you hope I didn't notice and you totally gloss over it as if it never happened. That's infuriating.
It won't
but
work.
the other reason why I went through so much disappointment is that even if I wasn't told by whoever that they were going to do something, in my mind, because of the love is blind thing, in my mind, I am thinking, well, they should know. They should know to do it. Yeah. And that's where the assumption bites you in the ass.
Where we make the mistakes.
Yes, you make the mistake.
Yeah, we make the mistake, and the first time that they say they're going to do something and then they don't. Like I got stood up on a date by one of my ex-husbands. I won't tell you which one.
On the first date?
On the first date. And I waited and I waited and I waited. We had cell phones then. He did not call, but he gave me a lame excuse the next day.
The next day?
The next day. And I can't even remember what it was. There was so much crap that went on in that relationship. I don't know what it was. I don't know. He made excuses up, and I've put them in a box and packed them up in the attic. But I believed him. I believed his words over his actions, and that happened repeatedly over the course of our marriage and through the divorce.
Yeah.
And
so it was a regular occurrence that he would never keep to his word, continuously stand you up in every sense of the word.
And I can tell you, he told me he loved me all the time, but his actions did not prove his love to me. Right. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. So that is right there. I mean, huge. And that is a huge red flag. I mean, I guess multiple red flags that are just, loud noises telling you not the right way, not the right person. And we choose to ignore that.
I ignored it. I let that go on and on and on for like 3 years, and then I still married him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whose fault was that?
Right. Well, and if you know Julz' story, and obviously we're like talking about it quite a bit throughout this whole thing, as you hear her story and you now are able to gather all of the pieces, all of the things that happen in such a long period of time. This is why we talk about, like, you have to pay attention, you have to open your eyes, because there are signs and they are there. It wasn't one thing that happened. No. It was a course of a million different things that happened. And it's the same for me too, in every different experience of life. It's true.
The critical part of this is that you look in the mirror and you're accountable to your part. It doesn't have, they can go and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. You can't change them.
No.
You can't make them, you can't force them to take more action. They are who they are.
The only person
it's your action to exit
the only person who can change, if you want change, is you. Mm-hmm. You're the only person you have control over.
Right.
And the decisions that you make and the choices that the things that you bury under the rug.
You don't bury them very far because they come back to get you.
Every single day.
Every
and they
single
come back.
thing that you tried to bury. There's a quote, and I cannot remember. This is from an old friend of mine. She's not that she's old. She's
Y'all been friends a long time.
We've been friends a long time.
Are you talking about me, Betty?
No, I'm not talking about you. But she said to me, the quote was, I'm going to butcher the quote, but the whole thing was, whatever is done in the dark will come to the light. And
I like that.
And she was specifically telling me about it was, in her case, it was about an affair, about, doing somebody dirty and, whatever. And so the whole thing about, I feel the same way when we sweep things under the rug.
Yeah.
And believe me, I am guilty of that. Over the years,
me too.
there were so many things that I just kept under the rug, under the rug. Smile on your face and under the rug.
Make
Smile on your face. You
excuses.
pretend like it didn't happen. You
Yep.
pretend like everything's okay. You pretend like everything looks so nice and shiny on the outside. And let me tell you, when everything starts crashing down around you, every single one of those instances, every single one of those examples, every single thing that I made an excuse for, all of it, you literally see it all happen in slow motion.
It's like your life flashing before your eyes.
It absolutely does happen. And I just remember, so when you just said that about you just sweep it under the rug, all you're doing is delaying it and making it bigger and more painful.
It's true. And
So absolutely, let's avoid that. What I'm hoping is that people in their 20s and their 30s that aren't even married yet, that don't have kids, that haven't committed, even if you're engaged, it's not too late. I am hoping that this, really the entire podcast, but specifically this episode, people that are dating, people that are still trying to figure out what's important to them and where their lives are headed, I'm hoping that you catch a glimpse of this podcast and it makes you think about who you're dating or maybe what your list is. And if you don't know what the list is, go back and watch it because it is so, so, so important. I wish I knew about this list when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. I wish that I had a frame of reference of what was important in life. And specifically, I'm telling you right now, if you learn nothing else, and the only thing you take away from this episode is watch actions and don't listen to words. If you just take that part with you, you will already be a million times ahead of us.
Yeah.
Without the heartache.
I've tried, and I mean, my analogy is I've always visualized a jar with a lid on it, and with my kids, I've always wished that I could just open it up and pour a little bit over the tops of their heads, and it would sink into them.
The jar of wisdom is what you call it. Yeah.
But it just unfortunately doesn't work like that, and I'm fairly. My mom told me every single time I was getting married not to do it, except with Jay. They got to vote, and if they didn't like Jay or anybody else I dated after that number 4 situation, I had to break up immediately because I decided that my love, lust, whatever, did in fact make me blind to the stupid behaviors of people, and I let them. I have a very generous, giving soul.
Yep.
I
Me
did.
too.
And I used to say, I will never be that girl that I was before that last marriage and divorce. But now I've decided that I don't want to be that girl because she was very broken and unable to pay attention to the actions versus the words. And I just believed everything that I was told, and honestly, majority of it was a big fat lie.
And yes, that's absolutely true. And the other part to recognize is there are things, as Julz always says, you actually train people how to treat you.
Yeah.
You do. But it first starts with how you treat you.
Yeah.
How you treat yourself and how you show up for yourself and how you communicate with other people. So if people aren't doing, even if they're not saying that they're going to do whatever, they don't even have to say it. The point is the action showing you the type of treatment that you deserve, that you are looking for? And if the answer is no, honestly, you can communicate it if you want to. Yeah. If you feel like this is a opportunity for connection and for being able to let somebody know this is what I require, this is what I would like, this is what's important to me. Yes, because people aren't mind readers. So
right.
Yes, it's important, but it is the pattern. It is the continuous disrespect, the continuous disregard of your feelings, what you've expressed, and honestly, just not being a normal, decent human being that is all about honesty, integrity, and transparency. Those things, unfortunately, you can't teach that.
Yeah,
you can't teach it on your timeline. If somebody wants to learn it after they've been burned and after they've gone through whatever experiences, that's fine. But from our seat, when you are looking for the partner, and it's not even romantically only.
No.
It's also companies. We talk about work stuff too.
And friendships.
And friendships.
I mean, if they're
They show you.
one-sided, yeah, I don't like one-sided friendships.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
They have to be reciprocated. There has to be a high level of respect.
Yeah.
It's better to not say it at all if you're not going to do it.
Right.
Just be quiet. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Okay, that's an inside joke. That's an inside joke. It's so funny. It's so funny. So things happen to us all the time, and we have all these little little quotes and conversations and inside jokes and one-liners and all this stuff that we say to each other. And so that one has come up, and it's funny every time it comes up because it takes us right back to the moment of when it happened. And anyway, there's a whole story behind that. But anyway,
Lord.
So back to the actions. I think that it is so, so important. And by the way, I'm about to do a shout out to, his name is John Deloney. I think I'm saying his last name right. He has a YouTube, he's actually a counselor. And he started on the Dave Ramsey show. Now, I don't know if you know him.
I do.
You do know him?
Of course.
That guy is so awesome. So anyway, he started on the Dave Ramsey show. And then he spun off and got his own show, and it's called The John Deloney Show. And I've been listening to him on my walks in the morning. And he was counseling this woman, and she had all these different things to say about what her husband is and is not doing and all this other stuff. And he counsels from such a place of love and compassion. But I'm telling you, the stories of women, and there are some men too, but the stories of women that call into his show to explain what's going on in their marriage and they're seeking counseling, every single time I hear the story, it goes back to the action that they're not doing.
Right.
They can be talking a big game, whatever, but these women are carrying so much of the load because their husbands, they refuse to participate. And one of the times, this last episode that I was listening to, he actually turned it around on her. And
It is on her.
Similar to what Julz would have said. What is it about you that you believe that this is the treatment that you deserve?
Yeah.
And
Exactly right.
And it's so true. But I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube, therapists and, like I said, coaches. And I also read a lot of dating and relationship books. And actually, there's a book right now, too, that I'm reading that has to do with parenting and the relationship with your kids. And it's so, so, so important. We don't have this stuff, that we don't have a manual for how to do this stuff. And it is important for you to learn. It's important for you to spend your time on things that feed your mind and that actually strengthen you as a person. And 100% first, you. The investment that you make in yourself, the time that you take to treat, how you treat yourself, the time that you devote to who are you spending your time with, and are they the type of people that you should be spending your time
Right.
with? There's so many amazing things available
people,
to you.
You can look at the people you're spending time with and clearly see where you're going.
Yeah. Yep.
You just can, period. And I had a really incredible thought in my head and it went away.
It'll come back.
Maybe it'll come back.
It always comes back.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. It's about therapy and your healing journey and all that. And in all of my failed marriages, I was going to marriage counseling. That's not what I needed. If you're doing a repeat offense, it's you. And you need, I've said this, I will say it over and over and over. I just want to beat it over everyone's head. Go look in the mirror. Look yourself straight in the mirror and figure out the common denominator in the things about your life that you don't like and it's not going the way that you want it to go, because I can promise you that it's you. And I'm sorry. If that hurts somebody, I'm sorry. It was painful for me too, because...
Well, first comes the awareness.
Yeah.
Because look, the reality is that a lot of people are wandering around and they don't know. They don't know, and they're blaming and they're pointing the finger,
Yeah.
and they're suffering, and their children are suffering. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know where to begin. That is true. There are a lot of people that just don't know. So the first thing is bringing it to awareness.
Yep.
And you know what? It's painful.
It
all of
sucks.
it is painful.
Accountability hurts.
When you realize that you're in the wrong relationship, that you even inwardly, when you start realizing the damage that you have caused yourself, that's painful too. So it's not just what other people are doing to you.
No.
It's
It's actually what you're doing to yourself.
It's what you're doing to yourself. And
And-
really, other people are doing it to you only because
You're letting
you're
them.
doing it to yourself first.
Right, you're letting them do
You're
it.
letting
You're
them.
letting them get away, and there's codependency, there's insecurity, there's just making excuses. There's a lack of accountability of
Yep.
not looking at yourself in the mirror and getting to your own truth.
Yep.
And it's hard to do that, but it will. You will just not believe how incredible it is when you finally get to know yourself, and then you figure out what you deserve, and then that's what you have eyes for, and you will recognize the words over the actions, and if there's truth behind those words. And I think it was a basketball saying, it was like, you can walk the walk, but can you talk the talk? Or you can talk the talk, but can you walk the talk? That's what it was. And it's true. If people say they're going to do something, hold them accountable to that. And if they don't do it, you've got your answer.
Yep.
Now, what you do with that answer will have consequences in your life.
Yeah.
And money doesn't grow on trees, and neither does true love. So
Right. I think for both of us, we've had a lot of the similar issues where we are so trusting and loving of people, and so we used to believe
Right.
people when they said whatever they said they were going to do. We believe them. But when you have enough experiences, and when you get a gutful
Yep.
of all the disappointment, of all the things that haven't happened, and you're sitting here waiting.
Yeah,
and
you said
years
you
have
were
on-
gonna do
You
this.
said you were going to blah, blah, blah. Well, then you realize, no, that actually is earned. When you let someone tell you that they're going to do something, and you believe them, and you trust them, and you put yourself in their hands, that is earned.
it is.
That is earned.
And
that
the
is
minute they
only,
break it.
Right. The minute they break it, absolutely not. That was the area that when you continue to feel like you have to, I would examine why you feel like you have to. All those red flags, all those mulligans, why? Why
Right.
are you still there? Why are we still talking about this? The evidence is already there to show you.
Yeah. And mulligans really shouldn't be used unless it's like a real reason for ghosting you or standing you up, or whatever.
Or something that actually has a really true, valid
Right.
reason.
But in most cases, unless they're in a coma, they should be able to call you at this point, because we're very accessible. I mean, a text, how long does that take? You can
my
hit
God.
you can hit Siri, send this text to so and so, and say it out loud in
While you're
5
driving.
seconds.
Yeah.
And then it will repeat it and make sure it's saying it right. Boom, it's done. Okay, there you go, you're done.
Yep.
So if you're not getting at least that, and I think that's pretty minimal. I think that's a
That is
minimum requirement.
absolutely minimal. And for those of you that are dating out there, I'm going to throw this out there, because I'll tell you, I have my list, and I have my rules, and I have my standards, and I have all that.
She kicks him to the curb.
I do
I'm
because
proud- yeah.
because here's the thing. I am super friendly, and sometimes people think that when you're friendly and you're chatty, and I like to connect with people. People think that you will hang
You're a
around.
pushover.
Yeah, that you're a pushover, and that you will hang around indefinitely. Well, that's not the case at all. So for me, I give people enough rope. I give them enough time, because I just want to observe.
Yep.
So I'm observing specifically in the beginning, and it might be that we're just texting back and forth in the beginning. Well, I want to see the consistency. Now, this is very important. I don't need the continuous texting from a place of like insecurity and neediness.
No.
I don't need that. I don't need the continuous. I don't need that. What I need is the consistency. So, communication. So if I know you're at work, I don't expect to hear from you, especially if you're like, hey, I have all these meetings and whatever. Then just say that. Then just say that. I won't expect to hear from you, and I won't bother you throughout the day either. Like, we won't do all that. However, if you are okay, anybody that is okay going 24, 48, 72 hours without one word, and then wants to pop up later and say, oh, hey, I want to chat. Let's catch up again, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, I'm out. I was already out. I was already out a long time ago. In the first 24 hours for me, there is nothing you can tell me at all that when you absolutely are interested in somebody, if you are interested in somebody, there is no damn chance that you will let 24, 48, 72 hours go by. I don't care who you are. You're not that busy. I don't know. I don't think it's possible either. Not when you're really interested.
Right.
Now, if you're on somebody's roster, if you're just on rotation, that's probably why you're not getting the text. So for me, when they pop up again,
if you're not, then know that you're on their roster and take it at face value.
Right. So when somebody pops up again 2 or 3 days later, I'm thinking, who's this?
Right. I was
already done with them.
I was pretty brutal when I got back into the world of dating too. And y'all have heard me say I had the breakup text. And I mean, it wasn't even a breakup text because I hadn't done anything to make it a breakup text, but it was a courtesy of thank you for your time, kind of a deal. I appreciate it. I hope we both find what we're looking for. But yeah, I knew I had my list. It was very concise. I had Dr. Hemfeld as my accountability partner and my mom and my sister and a girlfriend of mine. And so set yourself up with a lot of accountability to other people. I mean, because when you're looking for love, that's a big, tall order, and it needs some big roots on it to be able to get through this life.
And a level of insecurity and dysfunctional attachment, there's no room for that.
There's not.
Because this is where I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of people that we talk to. There are a lot of people that are clinging to when's the next text coming?
Right.
When's the next one coming? And as soon as it comes in, they want to respond to it and they want to do all this stuff. But again, now we're in the process of training people how to treat us. And that's the breadcrumbing thing.
It is.
And if one text every 3 or 4 days is enough for you, I can already predict that relationship is going to be a disaster. It is not going to be good because there's no clear communication. There's no honesty. There's no transparency. For me, trust and communication, and of course, all of them, trust, communication, transparency, integrity, all of them they're at the top of the list. They're at the top of the list. And if you are somebody if you are just okay, that's a form of ghosting where you feel like you can just disappear whenever. Now, in the early days, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything, but I'm observing.
Right.
I'm observing to decide whether or not you qualify.
Yep.
So that's what you should be doing in the early days because you don't owe me. You don't have to, whatever. That's fine. But when we start getting into something, now we owe each other at least the piece of how do we want to do this together?
Right.
We should be committed to how we're going to communicate, the frequency, like that kind of thing. Not that it has to be like, every hour on the hour.
No,
I'm not talking about all that. That's ridiculous.
No.
I'm just saying, are you going to be in a relationship with someone or not? Common courtesy.
It's common courtesy.
But these are the actions. These are the steps.
Yeah, if you care about someone, your actions are going to prove to them that you care.
Right.
I mean, I go back to when Jay and I first started dating. There was a time I got sick. I had running a fever and whatever. And he brought me a thing of ice cream. He brought me flowers, a card, and he set them on the front porch. And then he texted me and he said, I hope you're awake. I left something on the front porch. He couldn't come in because I didn't want him to get sick, and he traveled a lot with work and all that. And I mean, those actions speak loud. Mm-hmm. Yep. He did it for my son, my little one that he wasn't that interested in being a part of. He had some, little 10, 11-year-old boys have struggles in school or baseball or whatever. And Richie had a situation come up health-wise, and Jay was out of town, and we had to go to the hospital. And Jay got in the car immediately and came to the hospital and brought my son something to, just a little pick-me-up gift.
Yep.
But he was there for me and for my son.
Yeah, and
Those are loud.
absolutely
Loud
and by the way,
actions.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. When you are on your chapter 2 or your chapter 3 and you're dating someone and you have kids, I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to be I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and this is why I'm bringing this up. If you're dating someone and you are 6-8 months down the road and they don't even know your kids' names, that's a problem. That's a problem. So when you just gave that example, that tells me, Jay is a man who took interest in you, but also understands who's attached to you.
Right.
So if you are a mom, whether you're a single mom or you're a single dad, whatever it is, and you're dating someone, because actually I can tell you the exact same story on the other side. I knew a guy who was dating a girl, and she didn't have any kids, and he had kids, and she really kind of couldn't be bothered and was very not understanding when he had daddy duties to take care of. And I feel like you gotta really clear that up really early on.
That's when you might want to look at that equally yoked thing. You
Right.
might not have the same interests.
Yep.
And I do think it's hard to date somebody who hasn't had children if you've got children, because they don't understand,
Yep.
what the
Yep.
requirements are as a mother or a father, because they haven't had that experience. So you can't expect them to understand it. But if they show signs of not understanding it, again, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, and this whole business of it's me or them.
That
Will never. So
that's stupid.
yes. And so for me, I mean, I've said this before. I'm very open about this. I will not date anyone that doesn't have kids at all. If they don't have kids, for me, it's just
Yeah.
a deal breaker. We've had that conversation before, and I had maybe a sliver of a moment
Yeah.
where I thought maybe I should examine this, and then I had an experience that it confirmed for me exactly why that rule was there to begin
Yeah.
with, and why I'm back to that rule. Because you shouldn't have to explain to anyone the responsibility that you have as a parent, and they're not supportive in
No,
it.
I got blamed for loving my kids more than I loved him.
Not Jay. We're not talking about
No,
Jay.
not Jay. Not Jay.
Not Jay.
The answer is yes, I do. It's a different kind of love. But when you're acting like this, you can put money on it.
Yep. Again, actions.
actions.
People, if you allow people to be who they are, don't try to force anyone to be anyone else but themselves.
You will have your answers.
Exactly. If you just let them behave as they do, as they are, you will know everything that you need to about them just by watching.
And don't
it
be
totally
stupid.
is.
Don't be
Yes.
stupid.
Don't be
and
stupid and
thinking that you're special enough to recognize, to love, to change, to do all these things that nobody else has ever been able to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you're not special. You are, but maybe you're too special for that kind of treatment.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. You're way too special to be treated that way.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. The last thing that I'm going to end with, because she just told me that our time is up, the last thing I'm going to end with is there is this dating coach on social media that I actually really like a lot. His name is Taylor Love. Shout out to Taylor Love. For those of you that don't follow him, I think he's on TikTok and also Instagram. I follow him on Instagram. But I actually love his advice. He has really great advice. And he talks about, it's kind of like, remember that old book, men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yeah.
He kind of is the modern day of that, right? And so what he talks about is that men and women have different languages. And, we do things differently. And women, what we're guilty of expecting them to do the things that we would have done, which is not the case because they just have their own way of doing things. So in this particular clip, he was talking about the language of a man is really his actions.
Yeah.
Men are not talkers. We are talkers. See? We have a podcast. Women, I mean, I know
And we're
men,
going to get Jay on here eventually.
I know men have podcasts too, but we're talkers. We can talk about stuff all day, every day.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about. Men, maybe not so much. Maybe, especially, we might have a 2-hour-long conversation about one particular topic. Usually guys are like, no, just tell me what you need and be done with it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
short and sweet, be
Yeah.
done with it. So when he was, this guy, Taylor Love, when he was talking about this, I'm like, this is so true, but why do we pretend that it's not that way, and why do we want to force it to be something else that we know it's never going to be?
No.
It's not going to be. We cannot change men.
Right.
We can't. So we have to,
And we
sit
shouldn't
back.
want to.
We shouldn't want to. We should.
I don't
want
wanna change Jay.
I don't want a man. I don't want to turn a man into a woman.
No.
I don't want to make him more feminine.
No.
I don't want to make him think the way I do and do the things I do. I don't want that.
No.
I want us to complement each
If you want
other.
to do that, go date a woman.
Exactly.
No.
Which is exactly, by the way, what some of these male coaches say when you have these men that are out here trying to get princess treatment from women. It's like, if you are really looking for that, you need to go date a dude.
Yeah.
Because no woman needs to be treating a man.
I haven't heard about this. Men
Oh
are-
yeah,
Oh,
that's
no.
a whole. Yes, there's a whole class
Oh,
of men,
no.
and this is true. This is absolutely true. There's this whole class of men that are constantly out here looking for women to do for them. Really, all the things that really the traditional man is supposed to be doing.
Actually, I'm sitting here listening to this, and I've never heard it, but I have lived it.
yeah, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah. I think now, I think where people are becoming way more open to sharing and talking for sure on social media. People talk a lot more, and I think that if you think back to back in the day, like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It's not that it didn't exist, 90s, whatever. It's not that it didn't exist. I think women suffered in silence before. And I think things were
yeah.
totally shut down for a woman to just have to endure. And it's just not that
Yeah,
way
it was
anymore.
taboo.
Yeah.
You know.
And times are a-changing, so
They
it's not
are.
that way anymore.
And there are things that have changed that I don't like, for sure. I don't like the demasculization that has occurred with men. It makes me really sad because I think men are confused on, what do you want? I really do.
yeah.
So anyway, we do have to close, we could go on and on and
We
on.
could.
Like we always do, but we're
do.
going to respect your time and ours too. So
Fine.
thanks for joining us today.
Did you have a final thought on the topic, or you're good?
I think I'm good. I just want you to be aware of actions over the words. I mean, if they're saying things, then they've got to put the actions behind the words.
Yep.
And if they're not saying something, but they're doing certain things, then men don't talk. So
Yep.
just open your eyes and be aware to how you're being treated and figure out if that's what you are looking for.
Yep. Totally agree. And for the women that are out there, the one thing that I would say is the action that we highly encourage you to take is loving on yourself more and learning how to treat yourself, learning to bring yourself back to a place of worthiness and figuring out what you want and what you deserve, because you absolutely do deserve the best. And if you're in a situation that you don't like at the current moment, whether it's a job or a relationship, you do not deserve to be in a place of misery, in a place of unhappiness, in a place of that lacks appreciation for you, any of that. So the action that we want you to take is the one of self-discovery, self-love, putting yourself in places, in situations where you are surrounded by people that love on you, inspire you, lift you up, cheer for you, rooting for you, all of those kinds of things. That's the action that will create more action from everybody else around you.
And your life will be so full and blessed, and you'll feel such abundance in your soul. And, getting there to where Betty's describing can be painful. You've got to learn how to enjoy being by yourself and getting comfortable and confident. I love my time alone. And I know Jay's listening to this. I love my time with you too, honey. And I'm glad that you come home when you do. But it's such a place of healthy for me that I've never experienced before, that I just give yourself some time to get to know you.
Yeah.
And then you'll truly respect yourself, and you will have more options. Because
Absolutely.
you won't just be grabbing at
Whatever shows up.
a warm body.
Yeah.
You deserve more
Which
than
is
just a
never
warm
good.
body.
Which is never good.
No. Ugh. Bah.
No. Well, anyway, thank you, everybody. We're going to ask you for your comments, your feedback in the comment section below. Also, if you want to continue the conversation with us, we have an email address that we get directly and we respond to it. hello@bettyandjulz.com, BETTE.
And JULZ.
And that is all for today's episode, but we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.